1. Here we go. We are here with another one. Good to see y'all. Twitch, say hi to YouTube. YouTube, say hi to Twitch. Haven't seen y'all in a minute. Was going a little bit. Went to Chicago Open, and then I went to Naperville for a Norm tournament. Then I went to Twitch for a Twitch Summit in New York. So yeah, now we're just getting back. So this is fire. So this is round 1 of Chicago Open 2022, like a week and a half ago, maybe like 2 weeks, something like that. But been going a long time. So in fact, let me actually look at that. Was that really 2 weeks ago? It was like, yeah, 2 weeks ago. So I was in Chicago Open, and this is round 1. I'm playing white against Grandmaster Mikhail and Tipov. So round 1, I get paired up. So this one was called Matter of Time. Let's go. So this one, let's see what it is. So I have white e4, and he goes c5, right? And then knight f3 and d6. So he goes Najdorf. You know, we big fans of the Najdorf too over here. You already know the Najdorf is fire. We like it too. So d4, he takes, knight f6, right? Knight f6 happens. I go knight c3, and this is all theory, right? So a6, I go bishop g5. I like the razor sharp lines of this one because it gives a lot of problems, and I've won a lot of games with this bishop g5. So knight b to d7, which is sort of a sideline. And when I saw this, I immediately was already happy. I'm like, oh man, my record with this sideline, like the 97 one, is very, very high. So in fact, I was like, oh, I'm already feeling good here, right? Feeling good. So I go bishop c4, and the idea here is sorry, that's not the move. The idea here is that we are going to develop our pieces very quickly. Queen e2 happens a lot, f4, and like, you know, you just go for mate quickly. It's very good stuff. Queen b6, which I actually faced this against Ruyang Yi or Yan, who was a very strong FM. And you guys, yeah, I saw that. You guys saw that game before. I was in Charlotte, where I take and follow the line here. You actually do bishop b3 first, right? And after e6, following the same line, queen d2. And I think in our game, she played bishop e7. And Sandeep actually played something else, like knight d7, knight c5, which is what was played here. Knight d7, I cancel queenside, and knight to c5. Okay, so it's on you, chat. Let's see what we got. White to move. What would you do in this position here? If we take a quick glance at this position, what do we do? He's going to put his bishops here, probably castle to one side of the board, maybe try to expand. This game is long too. It's a lot of stuff to learn in this game here. So far, so good though. When we get the pieces out, we develop all regular stuff. Yo, Erm, thanks for the 6 piece. Let's go. 6 months. Thank you. What do we have, chat? White to move. Let's get some suggestions. We have f4 from Wood Pusher. Another one for f4. 2 f4s here. Big fan of it. Go Jedi. What up, Ern? Go Jedi. Let's go. Let's go. F4, F4. So F4 is very nice. In fact, it is move number 1 on the engine. Shout out to you. Like f4 is, but in fact, rook h to e1 is what I chose here, which is actually still very playable. I like to put, you know, this here because what happens is I've actually seen this happen. Sometimes bishop e7 runs into this right here. Y'all ready? In fact, why does bishop e7 already puts this at +2? Can anybody find the combination? This is why I put the rook here, because it's going to deter your bishop e7 very fast. Remember this idea, by the way. So let's see. Bishop e7. What do we have in the chat? Senior Sud says knight f5. He says knight f5. Anyone else, chat? Knight to f5. Another one, casting is for beta, says knight to d5. Okay, knight d5. 2 for knight d5 there. Interesting. Nice stuff. Knight f5. Okay, so the answer here is actually, you ready for it? It's supposed to be knight f5. Bro, you getting hit with a haymaker for real. That's a move, boy. That's a big boy move from a big fella. The idea here is after e takes f5, I play knight d5, and now I'm forking the queen and the bishop. You go back, and I take it this, and now you have to block with your face here on e6. And then look at this position. Like, everything's wide open. This is terrible for you. I can go knight f4, bully the e6 pawn. This is very bad for black. You never want this to happen. So rook h to e1 deters any bishop e7 ideas. So after rook h to e1, he goes bishop d7, which is totally playable. He wants to cancel queenside, right? This is real life prep, exactly right. I go f4. He castles queenside. Then I go f5. In fact, I'm still following theory here. And guys, I think right here he thought for a very, very, very long time. He thought for a very long time. Red Hot Mama, we back. If we're doing analysis right now, this is round 1 against Mikhail Antipov. By the way, his rating is 2592. FIDE. At this time, he was 2592 FIDE. Basically 2600, right? FIDE. So I'm playing him, right? And this is our game, right? And he thinks for like, I mean, it felt like, I think he thought for like 30 minutes here. I'm not even gonna lie. But I know why he thought, because, guys, tell me what happens if he goes bishop e7. If he goes bishop e7, right? Bishop e7 is actually kind of annoying. In fact, and you remember, this is the same idea, right? Think about this, right? Same idea that we looked at before. The idea here is after takes, I can still go knight f5, or I can even sometimes even take this. But knight f5 was what I was going to play. Excuse me. And after takes, knight d5, same idea. Hi, Canty, what's good? What's up, extraterrestrial wizard? So he's like, how do I get my bishop out? And that's why he thought for 30 minutes. Because if you can't get the bishop out, then like, it's annoying. You can't get the bishop out. So he thought for a while, and then he comes up with, in fact, in my files, the best move here is the move that he played, which lets you know this man 2600 for real, bro. Bruh. For real. He played g6, which is like one of the best moves. He wants to like develop, you know, like the bishop g7 round. Black looks so cramped. Yeah, absolutely. He has to get the bishop out though. He should be fine, but bishop g7 is a thing and stuff like that. But here's a move that in my files, I remember that I'm supposed to play this move. Let's see if you can find this move. It's white to move. What do you think you're supposed to play? This is from my files and me like doing deep prep. I'm supposed to play a move with a set idea that I'm going to show you. But I actually went another route. Let's see what we have. White to move. Yeah. There we go. Somebody getting brain fuel there. So what do? Kind of want to push the pawn into f6, but it's probably bad. Pawn takes the g pawn. Okay, so we got somebody taking on g6. And we have an f6. Okay. In fact here, so pawn up to block advancing. Leave the f pawn as a liability. f6, okay? g4, extraterrestrial wizard. So here, guys, in fact, what I'm supposed to play, believe it or not, is queen to g5. Bruh. With the idea is after bishop g7, you actually play f6. And here I calculated more because some of this stuff ends here. And actually, in fact, in my files, after queen g5, f6, this is it. Like, that's literally, there's no other moves. There's like, because people don't really reach this position. But h6 was what I calculated, and I looked at queen f4. But then I looked at the in-between move of what about e5 first. But e5, I could go, in fact, this was strange. And it says I can just move the queen. But I was like, I don't know, like, what? This is getting crazy here. This is getting kind of wild, you know. So I thought I would go queen h4, and then if he played g5, I would go queen f2. This was all of my calculations, right? Calculation over everything, you know, command merge, right? Queen f2. And then bishop f8, and I remember looking at this position and saying to myself, I don't know. Like, I mean, okay, yes, I have the pawn on f6. Can't really get to this one, but he can't push either, and his pieces are cramped. I mean, it's whatever, right? But this pawn is extremely weak, though. So I do need to tread with caution, to be honest, right? So, okay, g6 happens. And instead of going queen g5 with this idea of like f6 stuff, I still wanted to go f6, but I just didn't want to go queen g5, f6. So, in fact, I went g4. Like, let's go, bro. I'm about to play g4. And then play g5 and do it this way. So he goes bishop g7. Well, I go g5. He goes rook. And the reason why is because f7 is like hanging in a lot of lines. And also, I still have knight f5 or knight d5 ideas. Even if he takes this way, I can like take with the knight. Right, which is pretty cool. And then same idea, knight d5 stuff. So he plays rook d to e8 because he knows I'm going to play f6, which I do. And then he plays bishop d8 with the idea of tucking the bishops this way. And then, guys, now this is where it gets kind of weird. And what I mean by weird is like, you know, plans and ideas. And once you've done what you needed to do here, obviously making one plan and idea, then you have to do other ones. You have to still make moves, and you can't just like not do anything. You are trying to play or get a good position, but you're also playing a 2600 Grandmaster, right? So, you know, there's a lot going on here, and you need to proceed with caution. So, After bishop d8, it's white to move. What do you do in this position now? What is the move? And I'm going to give you my move as well. With very, very cool process. What do you do? He says black goes caveman, so queen first. Queen e3. Asking this for betas, got one. Queen e3, what do we have? Chat. White to move. What is the move that I played? And what are some suggestions? A4. Okay. A4. Maybe A5. King B1 there too. You can get stuck here, you know what I mean? H4, rook H1 to get the pawn to H5 eventually. That's an idea. You could really get stuck here, you know what I mean? And I did. I got stuck here. I'm like, okay, like think about this, right? All the pieces centralized. You can't like push anything. I can't sack anything like that. What do you actually do, right? What do you actually do? And you don't want to sit around and like make a nothing move. I mean, sometimes you have to do that, but at the same time, still, I mean, you can't do a lot of those. And what if he has a good plan that, you know, that could work? You have things you have to think about here. And one thing I remember from Jacob Agard's material is my worst place piece. So I started thinking about like, what is a piece that's not good? And I thought about this bishop right here. Like, bro, this bishop is like, he's not doing nothing. So I'm like, yo, can he get in the game somehow, bro? What would black want to do? Probably like something like d5. So what I played here was this move right here, bishop to c4. I played this move with the intention of just going like this and just putting the bishop on a better diagonal. Because you probably want to play d5. And if you ever play e5, then the d5 square opens up for my knight. So this piece not doing anything. You're not going to take it anymore. I may even be able to push this one day too. The silent bishop c4, exactly. With the idea of putting it on a better diagonal. And maybe even playing e5 myself. So he goes h6, tries to break this up. Obviously, I got to go h4. So we trade. He goes bishop c7. I follow up with my plan. Bishop f1. And then he goes bishop c6 and lets me take it. But I'm like, I'll go bishop g2. c4. There it is. c4 is explosive. Exactly. Casting is for betas. And then knight d7. Right? So he goes back with the idea of putting the knight on like c4 and like really being annoying. So I take on c6. He takes with the pawn because queen takes. I have e5. So pawn takes. All right, I go king b1. Sorry, I go rook h1 first to trade. And then queen a5 happens. I go king b1. And everything's equal here, right? By the way, equal. And then he goes d5. And I'm like almost panicking here. Bruh. I'm like, oh, snap. The center. This is not what like d5. But then I had to stop and calculate. Calculation over everything. You need to calculate and slow down here. What do you play, chat? Do we take the pawn? Or do we keep it where it is? Because you got to be careful. And like you're not crushing, you know, at all. So you really have to be careful. What do you do? It's very important to do this correctly. No need to take. Don't move it. Take it. Don't move it. Take it. Don't move it. No, you got to take it. Like, that's so fun. Take it. Think later. E takes d5. Sack now. Think later. Okay, so the answer is e takes d5. And the reason for this is because you want to understand your pawn structures. Or at least try to. Or at least to create structures where there are weaknesses, especially for like after e takes d5. These are now weaker. Right now, they're pretty strong. This is like strong. But after I take it, you can't move this one, really, without moving this one. And if you move this one, then this one falls. So in fact, right now, if this is an endgame, oh, this is 100% premium Cambodian garbage. It's a rapster. Like, you're going to lose this endgame every time. Because these are overextended and this pawn is like terrible. And I mean, this is really bad. But if I keep pieces on, then this is really good. In fact, so I still have lots of chances. Okay, I use fine gold method and resign as quickly as possible, says Krieger. Right. Right. So, okay, here we go. So he play in fact, after e takes, I find move number 2 on the engine here, which is this is not a move you're thinking. In fact, chat, what do you think the move is? What do you think the move is you play here? And I actually thought here, like I really thought, and found the right idea. But what do you do? It requires some thought here. When you do the work wrong but get the right answer. Back for content. What is the move? What is the move? What is the move? Complicated position. Definitely complicated. Definitely complicated. I don't have anything for that, chess optics. Take the rook. You could take the rook. Rook takes. Rook takes. Straight down. Yeah, you could straight down. Right. Knight takes pawn. Okay. Queen d4 trade. So in fact, exchange rooks 94. I know it's Garbo. Yeah, that's definitely Garbo art. So in fact, what you do here is it's a3. The move is a3 right here. So this is a pretty cool move. The idea here is number one, make some love for the king. Number two is maybe I could put the knight here and eventually, obviously, move my queen because I don't want to trade queens. But a knight a2 to b4 is a possible huge idea that could I use and try to target this pawn. Try to target this pawn. A3 was a very nice move. I liked it. He went knight e5, and then I went queen e2 because he's about to go knight c4. And imagine like how unsafe do you feel, right? Because what happens is when they go knight e5, knight c4, the queen goes to b4 and you hit mate. So like literally in like 3 moves, you are like done, literally. So I go a3 to now stop the potential of queen b4. And after knight e5, I go queen to e2, right? To set up little tactics, right? He didn't go knight c4, which I think I was going to go king a2 there or trade and sack. Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to do. There's so many tactics here, calculation over everything. Right, so after knight c4, I had this here, takes. And then here you go. Y'all ready for it? Here it is. Knight takes c4. Hitting, splitting, right? Because after takes, rook takes. And now this is hanging. And you can't defend it. That's why a3, like, look how powerful a3 was, right? You would have to defend it with queen b4. But you can go queen a4, right? You can go queen a4, but then I can go rook, I think here, or, well, here this runs into knight a3. But rook c5, I think, was what the engine gave here, and I have queen g4 check next. It's like cool stuff here, but this actually works. I wonder what happens on this, though. Wow, I've never seen this line. The engine gives this. Oh my goodness, I've never seen this. Oh my goodness, I've never seen this. Oh, sorry, not this line. Here. Here. Wow. Here. You. I ain't see all that. I'm not even gonna lie, I ain't see none of that. That's straight engine right there. Wow. But I did see the sacrifice, obviously. Yeah, that was just a nuts line. I mean, the engine just spit out a nasty line there. But okay, so he goes rook takes. And instead of obviously taking with the rook, because I want to keep the pressure, I take with the bishop. Nice little bishop in the corner, right? And then rook d8, right? I go rook d4. He goes queen b6. Now, mind you, right here, this is a very critical moment. And what I mean by this is a very critical moment. I spent a lot of time here. We're both getting low on time. And still, it lasted, believe it or not, guys, another, oh my goodness, another 60 moves from right now. Another 60 moves, guys. Think about that. 60 moves from right here, fighting this 2600 GM. Okay, so he goes queen b6. It's on you, chat. Rook is hanging. White to move. What do you do? White to move. What do you do? Your rook is hanging. You got to move it. Well, I mean, you could defend it, obviously. But it is up to you. It's up to you. Obviously, for algorithm standards, we're not going to go too long. But we want to see these critical moments. Rook d1. He says, sack the rook. He said, yeah, I mean, just give it up, man. Queen d1, rook d1. Any other move blunders the bishop? No. Red Hot Mama has a great point there. Is queen b4, queen g1 is going to blunder the bishop. But here, I went into the think tank, right? And what I said is calculation over everything, right? Of course, I'm going to plug the merch every time. CLE, yep. Shop Canty merch, 1000%. 100%. Yep. It gives you merch, right? But if you think about that, when I say calculation over everything, I went to the tank and I came out on the other side because I played this move right here, rook b4. I'm out of here, dog. And I walked away, right? I literally did walk away, though. I did play rook b4. And not just immediately walk away, but, you know, I got some water and, like, let him sit on that for a minute. I let him sit on that for a little bit. Because after queen g1 check, king a2, and if you take the bishop, right, after queen takes, king d7, and now you have to find the right sequence here, chat. You have to find the right sequence. What do you think the move is right now? Mind you, I'm playing 2600 GM, and I'm like, I'm going for this. And it's white to move. You sack the bishop. You better get this right, or you lose. White to move. White to move. King on d7. So you can hear the crickets. You can hear the crickets across the room. Bruh. Yeah, it is. You got to think. Offer draw, screwed up both colors. Oh, man. Rook b7 from Pepper Picante. Rook b7 from Pro Classic. In fact, guys, you are correct. Rook b7 is the only move. Only move, bro. And I saw this in my calc. In my calculations, bro, I saw this. Rook b7 only move. Because my idea is knight b5. Very strong idea. Right? So after rook c8, right, knight a4, threatening knight to b6. I was ready for this. Also, knight to c5 stuff. I also wanted to play stuff like knight b5 with the idea of if he pushes, you go queen d6 check, bro. Bruh. You see this? Like, I was ready. I calculated all of this, right? I was ready for all of this. So after rook to b4, after I play rook to b4, he thinks so long. And I'm thinking he's going to flag. And like, I'm about to beat the 2600 GM in the first round. Like, I'm hype right now, right? So he goes rook b4. I mean, after I go rook b4, he thinks and he plays queen c6. And that let me know right there that the Jedi is here. He played queen c6. He didn't take it. I was like, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Let me holler at him real quick, right? So I go king a2 because I just want to get the king off the back rank. We're getting lower on time. Stuff like that. So king a2, he goes rook h8. He hits the file. He makes his move quite quickly. I go queen d1 to defend the bishop, and the queen defends it. Right. You're playing the next thing's real strategy. So, all right, he plays a5. And he hits my rook, right? I move my rook back to b3. And then he goes queen to c4. And right here, after queen to c4, he has like 2 minutes maybe on the clock. Maybe 3. Something like that. But he's very low on time. And I have like maybe 8 or 9. I have more than him, though. I do have more time than him. And so he plays queen to c4. And I look at him after he hit the clock. And people standing around the game, everybody watching. And then after queen c4, I hit him with the move. Knight takes c5. And like, you can hear a pin drop in the room. Knight takes d5. It's on the board. It is here, right? So now, after rook takes h1, well, in fact, he can't do anything. Because if you do anything, look at this. Knight e7 is mate. Bro, that's checkmate, bro. That's literally mate. That's a nasty mate. Absolutely disgusting. I was able to see this, right? So, knight e7 is mate. So you have to be very careful about anything you do right now. 97's mate. If you tried a4, right, trying to pin me, oh, that's cute. Yeah, that's clever. That's clever right there. Okay, right? Garbage. I made it. 97's mate. Like, it's mate, bro. Literally mate. So he has to take the knight. So he takes it. I take back with the bishop. And now I win his queen. I win his queen because if you do something stupid like queen to c5, I go bishop b7 check, right? And then you have to step into my pin with the rook. And again, calculation over everything, right? You see it because we're calculating all of this. We're seeing these moves. It's happening. So he goes the move that is supposed to be played, which is queen a6. Engine gives me after the game that I could have played queen d4 or queen g1, which I saw and I did calculate. But I said to myself, look, I'm not about to play this. I got this, man. I'm going for it right now. So I play bishop b7. He takes. And right now, I am winning this game by a little bit. Yes, he has 3 for the queen, but I'm able, his king's a little weak. I have these pawns here. And watch what happens next, right? So there's another 30 moves to go from here. I go queen d5. He goes king b6. And right here, b4 is an inaccuracy, guys. I thought about b4 and c4. In fact, I had 2 inaccuracies that really turned this game around. b4 takes. Rook d8. Right? I'm feeling good. And right here was my last chance to make this to be something spectacular. What do you think the move is? What do you think the move is right now that is supposed to be spectacular? I'm supposed to do this right now. I saw this, but I didn't do it. Greg, what do you have? Greg says c4. 3 pieces, 5. Yeah, and in fact, he has 3, but I also have the 9. I have these. So I'm like, I got these. This should work. 2600 GM, right? Watch this. So in fact, the move is supposed to be c4. But I played king to b3.
Bruh.
And then what does he play? Rook d4.
Bruh.
And he stops c4. Now the rest of the game right here, guys, is literally all because he stopped the c4 pawn. I mean, this man, there is another level, right? There is always another level. I want you to understand that. And I also want you to understand that 2600 is another level. He 2600, 2592 FIDE, 2600 FIDE, boy. I mean, he literally just 2600 me the rest of the game. So let's continue. Check, right? This is supposed to be zeros, by the way. Engine gives complete zeros. But watch this. This is so hard, bro. I play b5 to push. Rook c4. I can never push c4, which means now I'm down a pawn here. This knight is an absolute monster. It's almost like he has a fortress. Like, look at this. I can't move the knight. I can never move the bishop. I mean, I can try. And then he has the rook. Like, literally, I can't move anything. And then these are locked down. So, like, this is really bad. I think you could have kept pressing for the advantage. Exactly. If I had c4 in already, I have tricks with both the pawns. But now I only have tricks with one pawn and the queen. So watch what happens. I go c3 because I'm just trying to zugzwang or something. Bishop d6, check. And still, this is still zeros. Still zeros. King f5. I know, right? Some type of geometry stuff here. Like, push. And after king takes, I realize, bro, I'm not about to win this game. I'm like, yo, this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. And then I start realizing this is why he's 2600. This is exactly why this man is 2600. But I did have an advantage there, but that slight inaccuracy. And like the fact that back here, guys, if I play c4, I could win. If I don't play c4, I could lose. It's just that crazy. It's just that small of an inaccuracy at this level. You have to understand that, right? You know, but it's huge. c4 is the move, not anything else, right? So it's very, very crazy to understand just a small inaccuracy like that. But okay, so we fast forward. In fact, I didn't even queen because he's gonna take it. His whole idea is if I queen here, right, which most people would do, and you think, oh, I'm about to hit the knight, but yeah, the engine still gives zeros here, but this is very difficult, especially in the time that I had to as well. We both getting low on time. I mean, he can go king. He can even take this, right? Taking this, right? And it's just crazy. You got 2 pawns. I can't move this, and it's supposed to be zeros. Engine gives zeros, but I'm not.
Bruh.
I'm not buying that. Like, this is how you. This is not easy. This is not easy. So what I do is I go queen f2 to try to like check it. I mean, my threat is this. My real threat is like this, and then hopefully I could get that. But obviously he didn't fall for it. Right. So after queen f2, bishop c7, queen a7, which engine? I mean, chess.com, bro. Queen a8, g5, and then lead chess 2. It's the same. King f4, queen takes c7, and this is the same idea as if I would have queened. So I just give it up this way. He goes back to c4, and this is miserable. I mean, this is so miserable. So miserable, dog. And look at this. He has a pawn, the g pawn, right? He has a g pawn, like. So this is hopeless, honestly. And so this is the rest of the game. I'm just gonna fast forward it here because I mean we already we had a 30-minute video here, so we're gonna cut that boy down. We don't want to be too much further for YouTube. But here, right? So I mean these are the moves, right? Obviously you can slow it down too and look at it yourself too. But here these are check. I just check him. Oh yeah, we get to this part right here, right? So he's pushing the pawn down. I'm making my last few moves here, and then he lets me take the rook because he's queening, and he queens, and then we trade queens this way. All right, and I lose the game. This is for round number 1. Now remember, I called this matter of time, right? And the reason why I said it is because after the game, right, he's like, "Yo, first off, this is what he said, bro. He was like, man, rook b4, man, your calculation is nice, right?" I was like, "Oh yeah, appreciate it, bro. Oh, appreciate it. Oh, appreciate it. Let me get you a calculation hat. Like, let me get you a hat, bro. Let me get you some out the store." Cause like he was like, "Yo, your calculation." I'm like, "Yeah, bro." So it was nice to hear that from him, obviously. But of course, it just lets me know that it really is a matter of time. It really is. So with that being said, of course, this is round 1. We're gonna do round 2 tomorrow. Make sure you guys subscribe to the YouTube, and we'll see you on the next video.